So I am on this side of the desk, and it is always with an August company. You either get the benefit of what people have spoken, or you are out of ideas. So I am kind of in both the boats, currently. But never mind. So I just wanted to start, and I think a couple of interesting stories which Himanshu has shared. And I just had a similar thought. But what I would skip that bit now, and I will probably, look at what everyone has spoken, starting from Sanjeev. And I was just noting down the key words. I saw empathy, teamwork from Sanjeev, then, came enjoyment from Geeta in terms of whatever we are doing. And we also had respect and creativity leading to confidence coming from Sangeeta. So one aspect, which I wanted to basically bring out, and which is very important, whenever we are talking about anything, in terms of engaging the children into learning beyond academics, is the joy of effort. So I think if you see across everything that, we've been speaking about in the last 10, 15 minutes, the important element and the most important element which probably is there for a child to engage into any activity, whether it's art, sports, or any of those thought labs which Ashutosh is doing, I think it is essentially the joy of effort. And you rightly brought out that, once you've achieved something, you've done some creative work, you go back and because you've sort of got an experience of that joy of effort, you are ready to go back to the chemistry lab as well. Right? So it is with this very thought that, when we started off this initiative, and my company is called Sportseed. So why it is called Sportseed is because, one of the things which we write as our catch line is play to be. So play is critical and central to be whatever you want to be. Because, whenever we are born as a child, where we start liking art or science or whatever in our lives later on, maybe after 6, 7 years of our age or 8 years of age, probably comes from the different experiences which we get in our ecosystem. But there is something which is very, very unique with which we are all born, and that is the ability to play. Every one of us, probably at different stages in our lives have stopped playing. But we all played. Probably every one of us was not an artist. Probably every one of us was not, a science thinker. We all developed into all those things, subsequently. But what we all did was we played. Somebody stopped at age of 5. Somebody stopped at age of 14. Someone else continued to play and went on to represent India. Right? And that's where the whole thought process came, that, why don't we look at sports also as education? And which is why we started this initiative, which obviously, there are thoughts, and we can always bring students back to the class and so on and so forth. So physical education, and all of you are from the academic sector, I'm sure, for ages together we've been having physical education as a subject. Now, why do we call it sports education? Is it different? Is it a subset, a superset of physical education? What is it? So how we look at it is, sports education is essentially using sport as a tool. It's only using sport as a tool to achieve whatever development objectives, which typically a school or an educational institution would try to achieve. And whether it is a team game or an individual sport, it goes down to the level of the physical education teacher, who is therefore now focusing only on those 5, 6, 10, 15 kids, to create those teams or create those people who could go and participate. And the side effect of that is we have, as our population is increasing, the actual sporting or sport playing population has shrunk. So we find less and less kids actually, getting involved in sport. So, and I, again, this is one thing I would like to quote from some research. Okay, so the typical dropout rate, for example, when I was in schools in the 90s, and, that time the typical dropout rate used to be about, dropout rate for a child to get out of any sporting activity used to be about 16 years. Right? So by that time, the child would have reached to 12th. So up to 12th, they were playing. The dropout rate now is around 13 or 14. So by 9th, the children have stopped playing. So that's the difference. Those 3 years which they have lost in the last 30 years is a huge impact for us as a society.